So here we are, part 10 of this restoration, and this is where we work out, is there any more work to be done on this JX-3P that's sitting beside me. So at the end of part 9, I said what I needed to do was go away and look at the list of items I'd identified during the assessment, which was part 1 of this video series. So I ran through those myself, and I'm just going to run through them to camera. First one was the battery. Well, we've put a new battery in, so I think that is now working, and we've got control voltages on all the major bits because I've gone and tested those with a multimeter. Second one was dead keys. Well, you know, I've stripped the keyboard down and I've rebuilt the keyboard, and I think those dead key issues are now, or issue key and dead key issues are now resolved. So I think we can put a tick against that one. Volume knob, as you remember right at the beginning, the volume knob sounded absolutely horrible. I'm not hearing that at the moment, so I think we've got away with just using some contact cleaner to clean up that scratchy pot, and also clean up a number of the other faders, etc. that are on this machine. So I think that's dealt with that, so I think we can put a tick in that one. I do think the volume knob does need to be replaced at some point. I will talk to Gary about that, but maybe not on this maintenance cycle. And the last one was the gain button, which is the level button that sits on the back here of the keyboard. Now, there was no discernible difference between low, medium and high. Now, after using some contact cleaner on that, again, seems to have got to the point where that is actually now giving us an audible difference between low, medium and high. There's not a massive gain between low and medium, but medium to high there is a massive gain. So I think I'm happy that that's working. Probably not as specified, but it is working. And the final thing was the factory reset. Now I think that was down to the fact that we had a dead battery, and the memory is now holding. So I think being able to do a factory reset is going to be able, we're going to be able to do that. So I don't think there's any more work to do there either. So I think where we are now, I think the restoration of this JX-3P is complete. So really all that's left to do now is bolt the top on, bolt the sides on, and bolt the guard on at the front. And I think, you know what, this machine is pretty much good to go. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Now I remember when I was taking this to pieces that we were short of case screws. So what I've done is I've got my screw checker, and I found that this is a metric screw. It's an M3.5 diameter, and it's about 1.5 or 15 millimeters long, the screw shaft. So what I will do, again, like I'm going to go and look for some washers for the keyboard holding screws. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of a couple more of these so we can actually make the case proper. But in terms of, I've only got 8 screws and there are 10 sockets. So I think, you know, these 2 middle ones will probably be left out just to make sure that the rest of it is secure in the interim. So let's get on and put these back in the case. So on the shelf just behind the bench we have these. Let's work out which way around they go. This one is this side, isn't it? Yep. Okay. That's got 2 screws in it, but it goes in like so. Right, that's the synthesizer put back together. Just got to put the front shield on, and then I think we are done. So that's the keyboard reassembled. Okay, there's one last thing I'd like to do just before this is just my pet OCD piece going on. I just want to check what fuse is in the plug, because as you well know, I have a policy of never fusing synthesizers with anything above 3 amp. So let's have a quick look. And what have we got in here? Now that's got to be the first synthesizer I've come along in a good long while that actually has a 3 amp fuse in it. Well done, Gary. Well done, Gary. So I'm not going to change that. Okay, job done. Well, that brings us to the end of this series about restoring the JX-3P belonging to Gary J. Robinson, who is the Death Beats. This is his synthesizer. In fact, it's one of his early synthesizer. He calls it the drum and bass synthesizer. I really can't disagree with him because it was used on a lot of those early tracks. So this is a synthesizer that's very dear to his heart. So this part 10 brings to a close all the work we've been doing on it. So just to recap, what have we done? We've put a new battery in it. We have cleaned the contacts to get rid of all the scratchy noises on the pots and the faders. We've put some contact cleaner on some of the switches just to give them a new lease of life. We have stripped the keyboard down. We have put, just given the keyboard effectively a damn good clean. Reseated all the contacts, reseated all the keys, put some new keys in for the keys that were broken, and then we've put it all back together again. So hopefully this synthesizer will carry on servicing Gary for another 40 years, assuming that he stays in the music industry that long, of course. So I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. I've purposely have made them quite detailed because I think if somebody else is going to attempt to do what I've done, at least if they can follow what I've done rather than having what some people do, which is compress everything right up so you see just a snippet rather than actually seeing the work that's actually being done. And it also gives you an appreciation of actually how much time and effort is involved in maintaining one of these legacy synths. You know, I've probably put, I don't know, probably 2 hours of video, I suppose, over these 10 parts. But that 2 hours of video is compressed. And there's lots of stuff that you don't see in those videos and lots of stuff that's been time elapsed and time squeezed. But this video, this keyboard, to bring it back to life, and assuming I wasn't doing the video, I reckon there's probably been about 8 to 10 hours work to get this thing back up and running if I were just to sit down and do it. So I know a number of people turn around and say service techs are expensive, but you know, you can understand why they are expensive. If it took me 8 hours to do this and a service tech was charging 80 quid, then you'd be looking at £600 to £700 to get this keyboard put back to where it should be. Okay, and I'm just saying that because I'm just trying to give you a reasonable expectation of what it costs to do the work on these sort of boards if you can't do them yourselves. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the series of videos, and for now on this particular keyboard I'm going to say live long and prosper, and I'll see you on the next restoration.